Okay, hello everyone. This is a Powerfruit podcast, episode number 5. I am Jedi Pwner.
I'm AlwayssDancing.
I'm LlamaKing.
And I'm Arklyte.
So this week's our start of our new, style of the podcast we're going to do. We're going to do more reviews of recent games that came out over the past 3 weeks, since our last podcast. But before we get into anything, got some really important news for you guys. We need emails.
If you missed it last episode or didn't listen to the end, we mentioned something that you guys should be interested in doing.
Yeah, okay, so for whoever gives us our first email, whether it's a question, us reviewing a certain game you like, it should be something we can talk about and read your email on the podcast. I mean, you guys can say you guys are doing a good job.
It's a
We'll
friend
still say
request
thanks.
for LlamaKing's Facebook profile.
There you go.
Or a date, you know.
Or
No.
just a
eHarmony?
meeting in a dark alley with something called a roofie.
I figured out that whoring ourselves on the internet was going to come to this.
Hey, at least we get maybe some views. Okay, so whoever gives us
No, what do you mean us? We're just going to whore you out.
Well, you gotta think of the bigger picture here.
You got to think of the bigger picture.
And the team, not just you.
Unfortunately, I've already put posts for you guys on Reddit, so enjoy.
Yay!
Yeah.
Okay, so whoever has
What
our...
about my Plenty of Fish account?
Don't worry about it. So we'll still whore him out.
Okay.
So for our first email, you guys can choose between 4 options. You can either get 1,400 Microsoft points, a $20 PSN gift card, $20 worth of Wii points. I don't know that conversion factor.
Wii points.
Oh, no one's going to want that.
Anyways.
And a Steam game up to $20.
Or a Steam game up to $20.
Oh, that's the end. Yeah.
Yeah.
Or sorry. Or it's.
We're not that
You can just pick one of those 4 things.
And we'll send you Will.
And we'll send you LlamaKing. And if you'd like to, you can guest star on the podcast. And what we'll do is we'll get you guys in through Skype, and we'll work something out so we can all meet up at the same time. So the first email gets all that good stuff. I mean, if someone offered me that, I'd definitely email them. And if someone suggests a game for us to play, all 4 of us will probably play it, and we'll do a review of it. And we'll probably make a video of it, too, to post on YouTube. So you guys hear it on the podcast and in video form with stuff to watch, instead of just listening to random 4 guys talking.
I want to play Viva Pinata, so throw it out there, please. It'll give me a reason.
So yeah, someone please throw a Viva Pinata, and we'll give you a cake.
The cake is a lie. We gusta.
Okay, so
That's a good one.
so after
We're
that,
getting close.
we're gonna just get into the games that we've played this week, but we aren't reviewing. I don't know if anyone's really done anything besides Llama, because he doesn't like reviewing games.
He doesn't like reviewing new games.
New games.
I have, technically,
Fucking hipster.
Yeah.
Well, I beat Dungeon Siege 3.
There we go.
Finally. Well, actually, I wouldn't say finally. I don't know. Decently long game. I really liked it. I'm actually probably muck my way through it again on a different character. More gamer points.
And get DLC.
If anyone wants to play with me, hit me up with the request. Or send us an email!
Email!
There you go, and then you can play.
Mention this as much as we can
Email.
on the podcast.
We're going to subtly throw it in there.
Email!
Yeah, anything. Email. Make it a legit email. If it's not a legit email, you don't get the prize, and you don't
guys
get
are
Will's
so
sweet
sexy.
ass.
Aw, yeah.
But yeah, Dungeon Siege 3 a good game, but it was about 10 hours.
That seems really
It took
short
me.
for a dungeon crawler, though. Usually aren't they longer? Diablo's longer, isn't it?
I don't know. I think next time I'm probably gonna put it on the hardest difficulty, because I was just on normal, and then my guy got pretty strong, so it's
Just
really easy. The magician guy's, the mage is pretty strong once he gets enough stuff. Because all you have to do is put on a shield and just throw down AoE stuff and just sit there, and then his companion can also just kill things. So I guess pretty easy, but
Plays the tank.
I tried them on the computer demo before it came out, and I was like, this is really easy. I think I'm gonna go for the what's her name, Katarina?
Yeah, she's awesome.
Yeah,
That'd
the
be fun.
gun girl.
I like her. That's who I played.
Yeah. But yeah, that's pretty much all I did.
We played LOL.
Yeah, I know, but I think everyone should assume that I play LOL every week.
Not every week.
Yeah. we
I
play
almost
every
skipped
week.
it like for the past week and a half.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I haven't. I'm a so bad about a moo.
Nothing's bad about it.
Nothing's bad about a movie.
Just found a rock. Sorry for randomness.
So that's me.
What would you give Dungeon Siege out of 10?
I would say 7, 8.
7.5?
Yeah, pretty much.
Is this
I mean,
one
I
actually
get-
decent? This is like Obsidian, but they seem to be fallen from what they were supposed to be.
I don't know. I mean, I'm a sucker for any dungeon crawler, so I mean, I'm
Loot.
sort of biased, I guess. I mean,
Anything with loot.
loot,
Loot.
loot,
Loot.
loot,
Loot.
Wheat.
flute.
Retard.
Emails.
Emails?
Emails about loot.
Yeah.
Prizes to be won.
With-
Actually, that's not really
Loot
legit
to be
email.
won.
Just send
Don't
us
send
emails.
us
Just send us the
loot.
emails. Oh, we didn't even tell them the email us that.
Oh yeah.
Sorry. Our
Derp.
our email is powerfruitcast@gmail.com. It's all one word. Powerfruitcast.
I guess it's gonna be in the show notes, anyways.
We'll be in the show notes if you guys have listened this far.
Anyways, yeah. With another person, because I did the whole thing by myself. I think it'd be more fun if I just did it with someone else.
Yeah.
Actually, even with 3 other people would be really fun. I'm not sure if does this difficulty scale with how many people are in the game?
I think the difficulty you set it at the start.
Lame. Because I could see with 4 people that being a cakewalk even hard.
Yeah.
Well, it's too
That's
bad.
why I like Diablo, because it cranks the difficulty for each
Yeah.
person you add in.
Lots like that island.
Like 4 people, it's friggin' difficult.
Yeah.
8 people, I think you can... How many can you go up to in Diablo?
Isn't it only 4?
I thought it was 4.
I thought it was more
I
than
think they
4.
keep it to 4.
I'm
It'd
sure
be-
that
it'd be way too
I'm
much
sure that
going
people
on
could
after
probably
4.
make servers and stuff that change that. But anyways, yeah.
No, like I would definitely join in on Dungeon Siege.
We haven't played Dead Island in a while either.
You
Yeah.
know.
You gotta find some time.
Whatever.
To do
We'll talk about that one later.
Tonight!
Well, no, we're playing Gears tonight.
We're playing Resistance.
Or
Yeah.
Resistance, sorry.
Well, it wouldn't take us all night to beat Resistance. Cause
Oh,
you're
yeah,
already.
well,
Yeah, we're like over halfway done that.
Are we actually?
Pretty
Yeah.
much.
I've
You
only
said
played.
there's-
I've only played 3 hours.
You said there's only like 16 chapters though,
Is there?
and we're on like 9 or something.
Yeah, I don't know if there are 16 chapters. I never said that.
You're like there's 16 chapters. Like, how do you know? He's like, I just know.
Oh, okay. Well, I didn't know. I was being a know-it-all bitch.
You're being a whale.
I know I'm a whale.
Well,
Come at me, bro.
you mad, bro?
Spoilers!
What?
What?
Apparently, Will likes to eat spoilers.
Well, I'm the guy who watches the endings, the stuff I'm not gonna actually play.
That's true. Like, you know the
Yeah,
ending
I
of
wanted to
Jedi
know how
Island.
Gears ended, so I asked Jedi, and he's like, "Oh, just ask Will. He probably knows."
I watch the IGN stuff. Yeah.
This video will continue in the reviews.
Anyways, what else did other people play?
We played.
Do you play anything besides?
Shit, not really.
Everything that I played that was new is stuff that you guys are talking about anyways. Later,
Yeah,
so.
that's all I really did. Was I played new games.
Yeah, that's pretty much all I did besides just getting back into Pokemon. My usual, so nothing new.
Yeah, because I bought a new game one week, and I played that until I tried to beat it within that week.
Yeah.
But I failed and I didn't beat it, so
Yeah,
because I kept getting sidetracked by LOL.
have you beat Space Marine?
I haven't. I'm almost done.
Well, you should. Let's beat that first tonight, and then we'll play Resistance.
But that'll ruin it for everyone else.
Oh yeah, I kind of want to play yours.
Yeah.
Never mind that.
Anyways.
So
One game I want to talk about. Advertising for them because they're an indie company and.
Okay, that's fair.
Project Zomboid. I talked about it in another. It's probably like the first.
Yeah, that was the
episode.
first one we talked about that.
They just released their alpha build for. I think it's like $8, and they're doing the same thing that Minecraft did. So they have their alpha build for sale, and then everything else is free. So everything else after that, they're just gonna update your game. And I looked on the forum, and they said they only have about 10% done anyways right now. So there's still 90% of the game that they're gonna put in.
What's this game about?
It's a isometric zombie survival game, and the whole concept is pretty much how long can you survive, because death is gonna be inevitable in that game. And once I played it, I was like hooked, because multiplayer is a big thing they're gonna be working on. Because once multiplayer gets in that game's gonna be amazing.
So it's just like a horde mode game.
Well, it's a horror survival. I mean, like, even though it's like top down and like 8-bit, or I think it might be 16-bit.
Is it about like surviving waves, or is it just
No,
as long as you can go wandering through a place?
It's like it's realistic, and like you have to like board up windows and stuff, and it's all about you have to eat food and stay alive. I can't remember like the tech demo they released. There was like sort of a plot line. Your wife just got bit or whatever, and
Oh, that's with like the muffle with the pillow thing?
yeah,
Oh, okay.
yeah. And it's all about choices and stuff like that, and like,
Unborn children.
you're supposed to feel helpless and stuff, and it does a really good job of that. Especially the music's really good in that game too. So I suggest everyone, if you like zombie
Is
games.
it 8-bit music?
I love 8-bit
can't
music
remember.
so much. 8-bit music is the
I don't
music
think
of
it's
the world.
8-bit.
Whatever. We'll still give it a
I
try.
don't think even the graphics are 8-bit. I think it might be like a little bit higher than that.
9-bit?
16.
16-bit.
12-bit in the middle.
But yeah, I was looking at it last night, but it was late, and so I was like, I'll just buy it today, once I get home. Because it's a pretty small download, too. Anyways, yeah, there's my advertising for Project Zomboid.
Emails.
Email us about Project Zomboid if you played it.
Yeah, powerfruitcast@gmail.com.
Now this just sounds like ads that go on when you're like listening to something that
Oh.
happen like every 5 minutes, like
Man,
interrupting you.
I can't
We're
stand
going to take a break
podcasts
from the
with
Powerfruit
emails.
podcast for a second to discuss Vagisil.
I hate podcasts do that. It's like, you're selling yourself out. Just ruins the podcast.
Do you ever need to feel fresh?
Hollywood Undead.
I believe it's
Yeah, it's that
my
much turn.
Yeah.
giant
Oh.
turn of stuff.
And then it's...
Essentially reviews, but not new reviews of how we're calculating new reviews.
Yeah.
So they're older reviews.
But they're pro reviews by Llama.
Will's got
I forgot the rating system again.
notepad full of notes.
I have no idea what the rating system is
God. Where's chapter 2 of your freaking reviews there?
either. So, first off, I played Dragon Age 2 Legacy. I beat that.
Did you beat a rival yet?
No, I'm saving that now.
Oh,
Yeah.
God damn it.
I want to keep it for a bit longer, so I
It's
have
been
something.
like a month!
3 weeks.
It's like 3
So Legacy, they do a lot of improvements on things that people have problems with. They have they have a lot more environment, and
Like-
it's just constantly like moving through environments,
Like, by environment, do you mean like new backdrops to fight in? Because, like, I like...
new places, new backdrops. You like start off in like the sandy kind of desert area, and you get into some ruins, and then you're going underneath, and then you're getting back up.
Because, like, well, I like in Dragon Age 2, like, I like the backdrops were nice, like, they varied a little bit, but then you get in, like, the same warehouses.
I didn't mind that stuff. We discussed this before, but
Oh,
just
okay.
they do a lot more stuff, and so it's a lot more unique wherever you're going. You know that you're in somewhere entirely new,
Yeah.
instead of the same kind of place.
Like, I always thought they did, like, the backdrops in the distance.
Yeah, the
where-
backdrops in the distance were amazing.
Always nice, because, like, you'd be on, like, the coast, and you'd see out into the ocean, you'd see, like, the occasional ship.
Yeah, and it'd be drifting or crashed or something. And that was kind of like the highlight of the stuff there. But this time they're doing more in the forefront, and they still got the amazing backdrops, just that it's more varied, so you have this kind of progression that you know you're getting closer to things as you go on.
I still gotta play that. You said you can play after...
You can play whenever
Whenever
you want.
After, like,
once
a
you
certain...
once you get a house in the game,
Oh, okay.
in one of the places, you're gonna have a statue which you click and it sends you into the mission. So it's a kind of like,
Is it
like
like a...
Mass Effect 2, you go on missions. It's kind of like that, because once you click into it, you're in there till the end of the mission.
Oh, okay. I might have
So
to
you
do
can
that.
do it whenever. There's going to be a bit of dialogue variation depending on what act you decide to go on to. But you can also play it on the post-campaign save that you'll have.
That's what I'll have to do.
And it says fine for there. It's a bit confusing where exactly it is in the timeline, but just with how it works with the game, is you have the frame narrative and you have Varric being interrogated by Cassandra, and it's very much, oh, you forgot to mention this, and it's like, oh, fine, I'll tell you about this adventure, and so it works. It's not like, why wasn't this in the game, and how are you going to do it with the frame narrative? It works fairly well. And going on more improvements, it's a lot more challenging. One of the problems I had is that you have these certain, you have like your normal enemies, and then you have like other guys like assassins and mages to fight. But I only ever found like the mages made me change my battle strategy. Assassins, I just
kick them in the face.
They always went after my dog, so it's never like, holy crap, I have to keep people running away once the assassins vanish. It was only over the mages where I went, crap, I have to get people on them right away.
Problem solved. Go on.
And really the only thing was they have more health, so you want to get rid of them because they have more health. And this one, they changed it. People complained because in the Origins you had different darkspawn, so you had these things called Grenlocks, which were like the little dwarf kind of darkspawn.
Genlocks.
And they're back, and they are way different than
like
before.
They look way different?
Instead of, like being like small like dwarves
yeah,
or goblins,
all they were.
they're like hunchback and they're like mini apes going like this. I'm trying to do movement, but they like walk on their they walk on their knees and on their arms.
Emulating gorilla movement.
Like that.
They walk on their knees and arms, and they're a lot faster, and so they're a lot more interesting and varied. But the most important part of that is that you have the alphas.
Okay.
And the alphas, to me, of Grenlocks are scarier than ogres. Genlock or whatever. Because they have this giant shield, and they'll kind of do a shuffle forward every once in a while, and you cannot do a lot of damage to them with their shield. So you have to be running behind them to hurt them a lot more. And eventually they'll do a charge, and that charge hurts, and you can't get away from it. And they're varying kind of like the...
It's a good thing I'm a rogue. Backstab.
They vary like... kind of environment, so I was in a very enclosed area, and suddenly out of nowhere one of those alphas came and started doing the charge, and I realized I was in huge trouble right there. And so it's really changing a lot more of how you have to go about your strategy, because you'll just be fighting random guys, and one of these things comes and you realize that you have to change up everything so you can survive. They also have the Hurlock alphas.
Okay.
They're back. The only thing that's different about them is that they are very damage resistant, so it takes a lot to take them down. They're not really that difficult, other than it takes a long time to hit them down. But that's about it for that. It's a pretty good story. In some ways you could say that it should have been included in. Yeah, hi, with your weird grinning. So it's a good, but it's very much about your siblings. So in some ways, because I didn't play with the sibling, I missed out on most of the banter that was going to be good about it. Because it's very much focused on the family. So you really should, if you're playing this, decide to take Bethany or Carver, because you're going to get a lot more out of it that way. It's also hinting at a lot more things, because it is about stopping another talking darkspawn, which you had in the expansion Awakening.
Yeah.
And so you're learning a lot more interesting things, and it's hinting at a lot of the background stuff. And I missed the ending, and then I started reading stuff and realized that there had been something implied at the end, and so it's getting even more interesting, because you realize that Legacy isn't this separate thing that's never going to come up again. It's definitely going to have stuff coming up later.
Your actions have repercussions.
And also, Bioware never does that good at boss fights. I really enjoy these.
Okay, boss fights.
I just find them meh, especially the ending boss fights.
Mass Effect 2 boss fight?
Meh.
Mass Effect.
That's bad.
Dragon Age 2.
That's so bad.
Dragon Age 2, they started getting better, but this one's really good because they're making you do puzzle elements when doing the stuff. So it was a lot
it.
more tense because you have to think about how to do things while you're trying to defeat this boss. In fact, throughout this entire DLC stuff, there's a lot more puzzles. They have a lot more like exploring. I missed one of the exploring elements because you have to light these beacons to get into one area, and I missed one of them, so I couldn't get into that area. But they have a lot more things where you're going kind of off the path, so you can do puzzles and stuff. It's still fairly like compact. What the hell are you doing?
The thread off my pants and it's bugging me.
Anyways, continue.
Don't throw the knife. This is a terrible idea.
So, really, in the end,
go.
If you like Dragon Age, you're probably gonna like this. And if you're one of the people who really whined about some of the Dragon Age 2 stuff, this might give you a bit of redeeming qualities for liking this one.
That's good.
Okay, we're preparing to throw knives at each other now.
Okay, so what next?
Now I have the giant one.
Wait, what would you give
Christ.
the DLC out of 10? That's how we're going to do these reviews. Come up with a score out of 10. Just like review them.
And then do pros, cons. Like, just short pro cons.
Just like do like
I
one or
think
two
fate.
pros and one or two cons.
Phone.
Telephone. This is one of the... This is probably one of the best of the DLC stuff. So, I'll be biased, but I'd probably give it a 9 or a 10. I really liked it. It's one of those DLCs that doesn't feel like, oh, you're just adding it in. For Bioware games, which are supposed to be story, they really made this about the story, and so it feels really good. And that's why the next DLC, which was just announced, kind of feels because you don't know how big on story it's going to be. They just announced a new one. It's corresponding with the web series they're doing with Felicia Day or someone.
Oh.
Felicia Day?
Yeah.
The Guild?
Yeah, they're from the Guild.
I love that
So
series.
they have a DLC going with her, and so very much like the Mass Effect 2 Kasami one, where you're going to a party and you're stealing something.
I loved the casino.
I like that, but people have complaints, and it's very much that feel. I'm hoping there's a bit more to it, but that's what the next DLC is, so it's very much wondering how the story's going to work for that, because the thing that makes Legacy so good, aside for the challenge and the improvements, is that it had an actual good story going along with it.
Fair enough.
Okay.
Sorry, I missed the
I'll
score,
definitely play. I'm gonna try and play through that before the next podcast. No.
Yeah, I'm a bit biased because I like RPGs and I really like Bioware, so I found
I
found that really good.
But
if they asked me to, I would tattoo Bioware on my ass.
And now I have kind of the rival, and I
Uh-oh.
haven't played this for a while just because I hated the rivaling and the bitching that was going on, but I finally beat The Witcher 2, and I'm on a second playthrough playing through the other side, so I have a fairly detailed stuff going on, yeah?
What do you mean the other side?
You kind of have two kind of like choices you can go through, and it converges to...
I thought you didn't play like Renegade.
No, it's not like Renegade. It's more like, do you choose to join this faction or the other faction?
Faction.
Yeah.
Keep adding R's into everything. What the fuck?
so you can be 1/2 or 3/4.
So before I start, because some of the stuff is very nitpicking. It's a good game, but the problem is I like the first game better, and I don't want to use the word disappointment because gamers use the word disappointment as if a parent found their kid with a huge pot of weed and find out they're a drug dealer.
A huge pot of weed.
Gamers use disappointment like it's the worst thing.
Irishman.
The worst thing ever.
A unique pot of weed I got off at
So I don't want to use them that way. It's just like it could have been more, and especially hearing all these like game reviews saying it's like the best game ever coming out, and just going, it's a good game, but it's in some ways a downgrade from the first game.
Well, it's still technically a disappointment then.
It's
But
not,
I don't want to use
No,
disappointment.
disappointing is your girlfriend blue balling you.
agreed.
Because we gamers seem to use disappointment in like a way we like overblow everything for how
that's
we
true.
use the word.
Oh, nothing wrong with overblowing there, Will.
Oh my god. Anyways.
So,
Did it like not really let you down, but you thought it would be better, kind of thing? Not
it should have been
God,
better,
it could have
especially
been
with
better.
hearing and...
You were going into it with your mind pre-blown.
Mine.
I said mind.
Starting off, loading is way better. In the first game, you would have to wait for loading for an incredibly long time. That I got it the special edition that came out afterwards, where they fixed loading as well, and it was still incredibly long. In this game, they're zipping through, and they have these large environments, which you can just open the door and everything's fine. The only problem with the doors is that they kind of consider opening a door a new environment. So if the door's still open and you run through that door, you get this slowdown period where he's actually doing the door opening sequence again, even though the door's open. So it's really weird.
Another problem with the door. The doorknob's like 2 inches too far to the left.
It's not that he's doing the movement again, but when you go through a door, it kind of does this zoom in on your character and then zooms out once he's past the door and does that again. And that's like the flow in for the download of the next area. And so even if the door is open, it's going to do that to you again. The only problem I had with loading, and this is only when I came back to it, is that it can take up to like a minute for your low game screen to come up. And so if you're trying to get into the game and play, you're waiting there for a minute for it to pop back up.
Lame.
And sometimes it bugs and you'll go into an area, you'll finish dialogue, and the screen's just black and you have to restart everything because it's not going to load back again.
That seems pretty bad.
Maybe your computer's just shitty.
No, my computer, I'm handling on medium, and it moving to a point, it's a really good looking game. Like, it's pretty amazing looking. And I just got medium settings. Every once in a while there's hiccups. I have slowed down, but that doesn't really bother me. The only problem is sometimes they don't do such a good job on hiding some things. In games, you're adding like the neck and the face to the rest of the body later on. So that's why in so many games you see people with like necklaces and stuff, because you're hiding the line that's going on. And they have problems where they forget that they don't have characters all with necklaces.
So it's like
they'll do a zoom on them, and you can see this kind of flickering white line where their neck's been connected.
Sloppiness.
And so that's annoying because it's so good, and then you have these little things that you're going, what is going on?
I find this, like, the flickering white, I've seen that before, but I find it better than seeing when you can, like, see right through the character.
Yeah.
Like, I fucking hate that one. You're like looking at the model and you see like the shit that's going on behind him through his neck, and you just stare at his neck. And I can see through you.
Going on, it has a god-awful tutorial. I've talked about this before, where
tutorials usually are terrible.
But in this one is particular because they want you to read stuff without telling you. So you're going through what's supposed to be like the tutorial, and they're not explaining things you need to know. I've used the example of you're doing stealth, but if you take a weapon out, you're no longer in stealth mode. You can only be in stealth mode if you have no weapon on you, even though you have weapons that are traditionally stealth-based weapons. So they don't explain that to you, and
like
so that's
a shank or
you'll have a blackjack, so you have a club and you can't sneak around, and that gets really frustrating because you open the door, it gives you the flash telling you you're in stealth, but it's not telling you about weapon, and you have a guy right in front of you walking away. So if you try and take a weapon, then he immediately knows you're there, and you've screwed up already in about maybe 30 seconds of being told you're in stealth. So it's really frustrating. However, moving on to a strong point is that they're doing constant updates, and they're doing them free, not maybe a gracious of their heart.
What kind of updates are they?
It's
fixes,
like,
or are they
they're
like
fixes, and they're adding things. One of the worst things about The Witcher 2 at the beginning was that they didn't have storage, which the first game had. And storage is really important because a lot of what you're doing is you have to have items. The Witcher thing, you're very much about having potions, which you use, so you need to be constantly grabbing ingredients. And while most of the ingredients don't take up space, other stuff that you'll need, especially crafting stuff, do take up space. And so when the game first came out, people were never having the stuff they needed to craft because they couldn't carry all that stuff with them. And so now having the storage is in there, and that's really good. So they're adding stuff like that. They have a new update coming out on the 29th. They're adding a new difficulty. It's a harder one, but with saves, because the hardest difficulty has no saves, and if you die, then everything's deleted.
What?
They have arena mode coming in, and they're also, the more important thing to me is they're having a new tutorial being added in. So they've realized how bad their tutorial was, and they're gonna do better on that.
Well, that's good.
So they have good kind of updates, but they haven't done anything really big. It's mostly been fixes. They've added in like a couple side quests. The only problem is you don't really get to see that. The first side quest they added in was on launch, and that was for an area where everyone could see stuff. but the second side quest they add, you have to be going on one of the the 2 routes, so half the people aren't going to see that side quest, unfortunately. And so they haven't really been doing a lot of other stuff, so this is kind of the first big update, because you're having a arena mode, essentially.
That'd be fun, actually. Arena mode?
Yeah.
I'd enjoy that. Like any game. I'm like...
I'm going
Yeah.
into...
Get out of the arena.
going on and stuff. I don't have anything in a very good order, but they have amazing set pieces. You start off the game and your first thing going into combat is you walking up a siege tower as it's moving, and it's just really amazing
Just
looking.
walking up it?
Well, you're going up and up as it's approaching the battlements, and then you're up waiting for the siege tower's bridge to hit the battlements so you can go fight. And so it's this really kind of cool sequence of you kind of going up and getting ready for combat. So they have these nice big areas. They can do a lot of different things. In the second act, a big part of the story is about Battle of Ghosts. So you run through it, and it's this battlefield of all these people fighting, and so they have all sorts of things going on. So they can do a lot with their engine. They can make these really amazing set pieces. The unfortunate thing is they don't always use it. Sometimes you feel like they're doing an RPG, so they're doing a lot of smaller stuff, when they really should have done maybe like an action adventure where they could have done all this overblown, really cool stuff, because they keep on hinting at how much stuff their engine can handle, from these sieges to giant castles, and then they slow it down to a field or something, and you feel like they could have done a lot cooler stuff
What's
with
wrong
what
with
they
fields? You dissing fields?
had. Yes, I'm dissing
Then you
fields.
should not have...
They should have had an underwater level.
Everything needs to have an underwater.
Everything does.
Another problem I had
Mario.
is that I said this on the first podcast, I believe, is that every save you do is a separate file, and you can't delete them.
Yeah.
So there's mods for deleting files. So you have this giant list of stuff, so have fun scrolling through everything to find stuff. And I decided, just with how big things were, I wasn't going to play a second full playthrough. I took the game from right before the 2-route choice begins, and play from there, just because there's so many files. Because I save a lot, just because I'm running through where I'm like, I should probably save because a choice might be coming up.
Yeah.
And so you have this huge list of files, and you can't save over them, you can't name them yourself, they're always going to be named after the quest you're currently on. So that's kind of annoying,
choice.
especially with how big they are, and you can't delete them. So
Why can't you
there's...
delete them though?
You can't delete them. You have to go into files to delete them, or you can download... There's a mod that's supposed to be very good that has like an organizer for quick deletion
Bad
of stuff.
design choice right there.
Yeah.
It seems like a very ancient game design.
Another problem, a change from the first game, is that you can only drink potions before, so you have to go into a meditation and drink potions then. Which is interesting because it's about strategy. But the problem is that you're never going to know if you want to drink a potion that's going to give you more health regeneration before a battle, because you never know most of the time if you're going to be in big battle. And sometimes you won't be able to drink that potion because you only have 9 minutes for that potion to work, and it's going to take more than 9 minutes before you actually get a time to use it. In the boss battle halfway through Act 2, you have to go through this long sequence before you fight the boss, but you're never going to have a chance to go into meditation mode before that boss and all that stuff, so you can have your effects. So a lot of times where you want to be getting all your potions up so you have all these buffs and you're getting all your oils so your weapon's better, you can't really do it, which is frustrating. And then it also means most of the time is that you're doing these loads so you can actually use the potions once you finally found a place where you want to use them.
I think we'll have to get his own podcast.
Let's go a
make this
bit
a two-parter.
faster then.
No, this is good. I'm like actually really enjoying how in depth you're going.
Well, it's Will.
Combat's fun.
Can you
It
write the
take-
notes for my games?
Combat's fun, but it takes a bit to
Well,
get used
good.
to. The main problem being is that they're always throwing a lot of enemies at you, and this is a game where you can't get surrounded. If you're surrounded, they'll juggle you till you're dead. Even on easy, your health will rapidly go down if you're against about 3 or 4 guys. So you're constantly having to roll, and I say roll because the problem with the game as well, which is made mods, is that to block attack uses your vigor bar, and you start with 3 of those, but vigor is also your magic, and each one of those is going to use a bar as
That's
well.
stupid.
So really you want to just be rolling the other time or taking some damage rather than be blocking, because you want to be saving stuff for your signs.
Well, I'm sure rolling's effective enough anyway.
It's pretty effective, especially if you decide you're going to do upgrades to make it go faster.
Yeah, I think rolling would be better anyways for me. I wouldn't.
You can now roll up to 30 feet with one jump.
Because of that and everything, the game can get incredibly frustrating, especially if you have an enemy that's just juggling you. And the main problem with that is, well, it has a very fast attack, so you feel, even with your like heavy attacks, that you're always attacking and it feels responsive. Everything else isn't. I nearly got killed by one guy because I had the wrong sword out. For magic enemies, you have to use a silver sword. For humans, you have to use a steel sword. And I had the wrong sword because I've been fighting humans for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
And I nearly got killed because my character would not take out his silver sword. And I got it out, and then I kept on getting hit to the ground, and it wasn't giving me a chance to get up and get away from him. So I nearly died right there because of that. And everything else is very slow. You have grenades, but a lot of times you have to run so far away from the enemies just to use the grenade, because the amount of time it takes after you click the button from the throw, you essentially have been attacked and it's cancelled out, you throwing your grenade. And so it gets really frustrating trying to use any other items. The same thing goes for signs. You'll hit the sign, that's your magic, and you'll want it to go right then, and it doesn't go right then, and something else happens. So everything, really, the sword's the one thing you want to rely on, even though everything else can be really good. And then this game really wants you to use everything together, wants you to think smart about how you're going to do stuff. But with how slow things can be, it gets really frustrating that it's not more responsive, and a lot of times I don't really use anything else other than the sword. I went through the sword route, just upgrading all that, because everything else never responded well enough when I was in close combat, because I could never throw the grenade I wanted to at that time, because I'd have everyone attacking me and it'd cancel everything out. So that gets really frustrating. A cool thing about that, though, is eventually you get finishers, and those are really well done. They're really nice, they're really brutal, and they really vary them so that the ones you really want, where you can kill 3 people at the same time, they have a lot of those. It's not just like 2 different animations for it. They have like a ton of different variations.
It's not like in games where it's just like press X to execute and it's the same thing.
You're building
Like
up a bar.
Space Marine, they vary by weapon.
You're building up a bar. You're hitting X, and it goes into kind of like a cinematic showing you kill the guys.
That's actually pretty.
So
boss.
it's like you cut one guy, some guy tries to attack you, you dodge around him, you burn him, and then you throw your sword at the last guy.
That's
pretty cool.
And then you turn around and run away and don't pick up your sword.
No, you automatically get your sword back, though. Sometimes you do have to run and get your sword for certain things. There's one boss battle where your sword gets tossed away, and I nearly ran out of the area without picking up my sword again, because it was on the ground as loot.
Nice.
A really bad thing about the combat, though, and I play on easy all the time. That's just how I like to do things. I don't like that much of a challenge. But the boss battles on easy is kind of embarrassing. The first one was okay because it's very much about patterns and stuff.
Yeah.
But every other boss battle was like, I either wasn't getting hurt at all or I killed the guy before. The halfway second act boss does this really cool thing where he does a tornado. He blows up and he's spinning with all this junk, and you gotta run away from him. I never encountered that because I killed him before he could do anything. He's supposed to be really well armored. I was taking hits from him too, but I killed him before anything happened. So it's really kind of frustrating because you've killed the boss before you even learned what their pattern's supposed to be. The first boss you have to because you die just with how things work. But every other boss, I was essentially killing him before I'd even learned the pattern. Like, I was getting hurt and I'd run back and start attacking him. I wasn't thinking about the pattern. I was just mindlessly clicking like any other enemy to kill them. So that's kind of frustrating because it's not that well done. And you could understand that you have to learn the pattern in the harder modes because you're going to die way quicker.
Yeah, well,
but
you were playing on the easiest mode, right?
Yeah,
Why didn't you just up the difficulty?
I still feel that...
Difficulty. Difficulty.
I still feel that you should still be learning the pattern because you play other games, and even if you're playing on easy, you still got to figure out how to do stuff.
That's true.
But in this one, it was just like, whatever, I'm fighting a dragon, and I don't care because I'm just mashing the button, whatever. And so that's kind of annoying. I really wish they'd done a better job on that. And going on into other things rather than combat, there's very little character interaction, which is a problem later in the game. One of the other frustrating things definitely for it is that you're trying to learn about these characters, especially you have to take essentially two sides. You come to, in the first act, a choice, and that's going to diverge where you go. You either go to one city or another city, but there's not a lot of variation, which is another problem, is that they kept on building up if you went to one of these different cities, the rest of the game was going to be significantly different. It's not really. You have, in the second act, the same conflict, just from two different perspectives. And the main problem with that is also you don't have a choice how changes go. Because you might go to one side and you say you don't like them, they still win. Doesn't matter. And the main problem with that is you didn't really choose that side. You chose to work with somebody who goes to that side. So your choices really don't matter. Things happen regardless, and you really feel like you never got to choose anything. And that got really frustrating in my first playthrough. Because stuff happens, guys win battles, and you're going, I didn't want this guy to win, and he wins regardless of whatever I did, just because I decided to work with this one guy. So that's really annoying. And you want more interaction with these people, because especially in that one, which was a lot more emotional, it wasn't as emotional as it could be, especially at the end with this punch, because you didn't know any of the characters. So if they'd worked to make these people a lot more better, then you would have had a lot more fun with it. They actually have a lot of fun with how you're doing when you actually have somebody with you. It's fun because they're not like someone you have to watch. Even escort kind of quests that they have, everyone's capable and no one's going to die on you. It's going to be you dying on them. And they just didn't do that as much as they should have been doing. And especially when you're trying to choose stuff, you're away from them so long that it doesn't really matter about those characters, even though you should be feeling for those characters. And so that gets incredibly frustrating. So that's I have a real problem with the choosing sides, because that also goes into the worst thing about this game is that there's very little choice or consequence. And that's what The Witcher was based on, was that as soon as you did the prologue, you had made choices that were going to affect you in the next act, and that's essentially how things were going to go. In each act, you make choices that would affect you within that act, and that would affect you later on for the end game, and that doesn't happen.
All RPGs should have that factor, though.
But
have the choices.
That's
and
why I like Mass
consequence
Effect, because it branches over from games.
But in The Witcher, it was always it was unexpected stuff. It wasn't never like, I helped these guys out, so they're going to help me in the end. It was stuff like you agreed to help these people out, and in the first game, you would agree to help these people out, and you go into the second act, and you'd find out that they killed somebody you needed for investigation. So now, trying to complete the main quest in the second act of the first game was even harder because one of the guys you needed to talk to was dead. And so it was always these unintended kind of things coming up that made you go, crap, I shouldn't have done that, or damn it, and all that. But it never happens in this game. In fact, I kept on waiting and there was never really choices. And most of the time in the first game, when a choice came up, they'd pause the game and they kind of go into a retrospective with art, explaining how things kind of built up to that. And you really realized what your choice had been. This game, they don't do that. And that was one of the things that made The Witcher shine from other games, is that it had that consequence. And it was never really all good stuff. It wasn't like Mass Effect where everyone's going to help you because you were so good. Is that you were always going to have a few good things and a few bad things happen because of choices, even if you thought they were the right thing to do. And this game, even in the end where all these choices are supposed to be boiling down, nothing happens. Major choice at the end of the second act, in the third act, which is really goes fast, I had the choice of lying about what actually happened. And so I decided to lie, and I was really expecting that to bite me in the ass. And it's never mentioned again. And it's this huge thing that goes on. And so all the kind of choices are these small background things which are really annoying. And then actually find out if anything happened that affected you. in the epilogue, you have to go read the character bios to find out what happens. And that's really frustrating. Because really nothing what you did, and nothing that was unique about the first game comes back, and that's really frustrating.
I can definitely see that. There's such a sudden change.
Because you're waiting for things to happen, you're always tense when you're talking to people, because you realize what you say might affect things later on, and then it never does. And that really pisses you off. Because you want to see how things go, and really the only thing that changes depends what side you go on. So if you decide to go with the elves, that's how things change. If you decide to go with the humans, that's how things change, and that's the only thing that really ever changes. And in the final act, they do a few things where you can either go do this quest or that quest, and that's going to change how things go, but that's really just at the end, and in the end it's not really worth it. It's this kind of small thing, and that leads into another problem, is that they do probably one of the most boring sequel hooks ever. You have 3 plot lines that you know are going to happen in the third game, and just really dull, especially in my first one, because you have, essentially, the final encounter is an optional boss fight. And I chose not to because of what I decided as a character, which means that my ending was 10 minutes of dialogue cut to a ending cinematic. And that was just kind of brutal. The first game did a really good job at doing a sequel hook, because it finished the game, it finished all the stuff, and then went to a cinematic showing what was probably going to happen in the next game.
And they all died. Or did they?
Which is really annoying, because they did a really good job. It's the cinematic that some people seen where it shows the main character fighting an assassin, and they're like, that's what's going to happen in the next game. You don't get this in this one at all. And so it's very much, okay, this is the ending? Especially because I didn't do the boss fight. I'm going to do the boss fight in my second playthrough. But it's very much like, oh, this is the ending? Well, okay, I guess. And it was really
lackluster.
It was lackluster, so it was really bad, because you're kind of going, really? This is how you're going to end it? You weren't going to like change something so I fight somebody else at the end because I decided not to do the fight? Oh, I guess not. Okay. I'm ending. And this is like, ugh.
That sounds lame.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd definitely be pissed off at that ending.
And even worse with that is that the dialogue's boring. The thing that Mass Effect and Dragon Age have good for them is that they do quick things. So you have like your character talking, so you get to choose things. But they also have a lot of movement, so they're keeping the camera moving, they're doing kind of cool things that keep you interested. The problem with The Witcher is that you have these really long exposition times where you have to have people explain things or talk, and so it's just really them talking, maybe a close-up, and every once in a while, maybe they might move their hands. And so, a lot of time I decided I was not going to actually listen to dialogue. I was reading the subtitles and I was clicking through, just because it got that dull. And that's a really unfortunate thing, because they have some pretty good voice actors at times. And so it's frustrating that you're just kind of like, this is really boring, even though I should be interested in this, whatever, and you kind of click through. Just because it's so long, they don't make it interesting so that you're like, okay, I can wait through this explanation and then wait for my dialogue option. And that gets frustrating. They also they kept on talking about how dialogue at certain times was going to be timed, and that was for like choices. And that only ever happens twice. One time it's cool, but they really should have done a lot more of that, so you had to really quickly think about your choice. But then again, since they don't have a lot of choice, that never really comes up, so that's also frustrating as well. Because every once in a while, it's like, you have 10 seconds to choose a option, go. And more stuff.
How many more points do you have, Will?
I'm like nearly done.
Because we're already 50 minutes in.
Nice.
Meaning this is going to be a two-parter.
That's not a two-parter.
Going in the dialogue
It'd be
as well.
easier to
No.
upload and everything.
No, we're doing all straight one go, bro.
I'm cutting it.
The Power Will
Go, go.
podcast.
If I'm going to have to
Now with
pour it
less
out,
Will.
pour it out on these
Witcher,
emails, then I'm going to
30
talk as long as I want.
Oh god, you're a talker. They're not gonna like you.
Dude, just switch like an Uncharted 3 and Skyrim and
That's
all
why
those
I'm
games
doing
come out.
Uncharted. He's not allowed to touch it.
No, he's gonna go.
We wouldn't
and
be
die.
leaving the room ever when we got Uncharted.
The other problem with dialogue is that
Just kill him.
in playing both areas,
Murder?
is that sometimes they do a lot of character
Well.
inconsistency. In the one, my first playthrough, the main character knows all about the curse. That's the main kind of plot line in the second act. But in the other side, where he chooses to go on the elf side, he knows nothing about it, and he has to have another person explain it to him. And so that's kind of weird. Because you're going, why doesn't he know all these different things at certain points? And so it's really doing these stupid things where there's inconsistencies about information, just because they decide another character has to talk more. And that gets frustrating. It's also, the game's too fast. Honestly,
Too fast?
I maybe played, I played 30,
fast as in
maybe
short,
30
you mean.
hours, but everything's going way too fast. It only has 3 acts. The first game had about 4 or 5 acts, which were all long, and just, you have this main quest that's supposed to be going on, and most of the game's consistent to the acts kind of secondary kind of quest that prevents you from doing the main quest. And so you get to the 3rd act, and then they're just like, we're going to go as fast as we can go. And it's like, bam, done. The 3rd act, 5 maybe hours, depending if you're doing how many of this kind of hidden side quests in that area.
So that's
And
really
so
fast paced.
It's really fast paced, but that doesn't really work well to it because you're going slowly through, and especially for the investigation that you're supposed to be doing. In the first game, you're dealing with a lot smaller organization to fight, and it takes you 3 or so acts before you got enough information to really go after them. In this game, even though you're going after assassins who are killing kings, you pretty much know where they're going to be really quickly, so it's very quick, and it feels like a game that should be longer.
Assassin sense tingling.
One other point right here, and that's gonna depend on, I guess, your view of things, but when you're trying to make an enemy feel more evil, and
I know it is.
yeah, you know where this is going. You have a cutscene before a boss, and you're doing all the stuff to make him feel more evil and stuff. And so, just in my opinion, it really throws me off when you decide that the way to make him more evil is to make the character gay, and it's just out there
What?
nowhere. Yeah, you're fighting this. It's most of the time you don't really have any like actual enemies, just because then there's no like antagonist. There's no guy who's reoccurring most of the time.
Yeah.
And you kind of have one guy who's actually evil. He's not like ambiguous. So you're like, I don't know if I agree with this guy or not, but I kind of fight him every once in a while. This guy's pretty solidly evil, and you're like, I want to kill this guy. And you rush through. You get to his quarters where you're gonna fight him. You're like, let's do this. And instead of showing him like cackling, he's a mage and doing like necromancy or something, it's him putting on makeup on, being stereotypical, and he's like, okay, I can have one last screw before I have to do other stuff. And you're going, this is what you decided to show me to get me pumped to kill this guy? Really? This is what you decided to do?
It does incur rage with most of the internet. The internet is full of assholes.
It's just annoying. And then you don't even get
They just don't like your relationship choices, Will. You just don't like it because you're gay, dude.
And then they decide
No.
and then they decide that you don't even get to fight him. You're just going to watch him get killed in a cutscene. You're like, really?
Didn't like where that was going.
This is...
And you just get to watch him in bed. Maybe there's a hot coffee minigame.
Oh,
There's a bunch of
yeah.
boobies in that game, eh?
Yeah.
Yay.
Yeah, sounds like Byron's.
Wish I played that game.
But the problem is, you're like, this is the one guy that you really want to fight, and they decide, nah, we're just going to give you a cutscene to fight. You watch him get killed off. And so that's really frustrating. So,
Kind of like the Fable 2 boss,
yeah.
final boss.
Because this is the one guy you're really pumped to fight. You're like, let's do this. I'm going to get you. You have this really nice sequence where you're running towards him, you're fighting all these guys to get to him, and they decide, nah, you don't need to fight him, we're just going to do a cutscene. And you're like, really? This is the one guy that you've made me actually feel like I should kill.
Just because he was gay?
No.
Fucking
Homophobic.
prejudiced
Because
bastard.
he does a bunch of stuff in Act 2 that you're like, holy crap,
Does
you're
he
an
steal your
asshole.
brother and rape him in the butthole?
Nope.
Does he,
How's your butthole?
Did he rape you in the butthole?
As a child.
No, the problem is that they don't
19.
explain that he's gay.
Ankle
It's
tone.
just like, bam,
Just
oh,
the
by the way.
undertones.
It's not even undertones.
Kind of like how Dumbledore's gay.
Yeah, and in the way that it's like, oh, at the very end I explained, I've never actually explained this before. So you're just like, this is stupid.
He's psychotic. He likes to kill everyone. ... And he's gay!
That's pretty much it. You're just like, you kill all these guys. I want to fight you. Oh, what? Oh, what? You kidding me? Really? This is what you're gonna do to tell me that he's evil? So,
What are the points you got?
that's it.
That's
so,
it?
That's it.
in the end,
So 55 minutes later.
5 minutes.
So you have 5 minutes to tell us why out of 10 you give it. And
It's like a 6.5 in the end. I enjoyed it, but in the end, just all these little things coming together. I like the fact.
I think you just listed off more dialogue than the game has.
is that it?
Stay tuned.
6.5? I would have thought you would have done more than that for a 6.5.
It's like straight up 6.5.
I think I already did all the stuff for the 6.5.
Well, we can't say he didn't list off his reasons. My turn. I played
We should
games.
have,
They were good.
we should have,
Pass it on.
Wait for
Have our
next
Will's
week
own
where I do
separate
even more
section.
stuff.
We'll call it Will's Corner.
Wait for Uncharted 3, Skyrim, and 4, Mass Effect 3.
We call it Will's dissection of the world.
It's like 3 hours later, and that's what I think of the world.
So what do you give it? 6.5.
Hey, Will, what's the meaning of life?
Hi.
6.5. Done. So please email us
Now I
at
need a drink.
powerfruitcast at gmail.com.
If you by chance know how we can get a mob hit out on Will, please tell me.
I am mob.
Oh shit.
Ginger. There's no ginger guys in the mob.
It's called the Irish.
Oh, it's the Irish mob.
You're screwed.
I can't remember.
Yeah, I think
That was like
I
a
think
week ago that we started talking.
Oh, Byron, what about you? What did you play?
I play Pokemon.
You go. Oh, I did
Lots of
my play.
Pokemon.
Oh my god, that was just play. Oh yeah, fuck, he doesn't have any reviewed games.
We still got other review games to do. Yay!
Yeah, once we'll have to review games.
Dude, he's FIFA next week.
Oh. God.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure you
I'll
can't get into too much detail about that.
That's more banter with me and Byron
Yeah,
we'll
talking
just-
about stuff.
And
There's like no story or anything.
him and I fall asleep.
I'll
because
make a
it's
story.
gonna suck.
Okay, so
Will's
Oh,
gonna-
career
Will's
mode!
gonna read the bios of every player and talk about them.
It's career mode. I'll be making my own character.
I don't think they have that short of a height for the characters.
Did you see this little Metro fan? Woo! Okay, yeah, so are we gonna stop the video, or are we just gonna go into part 2?
Oh, let's keep going. I know,
Okay.
let's cut it.
So we're going into part 2 now, which is our reviews, and we have how many games to go through?
I can see the
7
subtitle for
games
the
to go
first
through.
part. Will talks too much.
Fuck, in the show notes, it's gonna be like Will
Like,
from 15 minutes all the way to an hour.
In the tags, just so we can have lines.
and
Like,
like,
holy
and
crap!
and
you
like
talked
Witcher's
a
like
lot.
40 minutes of it. Okay, so I'm just gonna do this in order what I have listed on here. We're gonna start with
Yeah.
what?
No, never mind. I don't know what I'm
Just
saying.
because I was just gonna go through to make sure we got everything. So we're gonna start with Resistance 3. Was the first one.
I'll chime in a little bit too.
You wanna
So
chime in a
I was
little
there.
bit?
I'll chime in a little bit, but
Chime in.
you played.
Yeah. So
You played, I watched.
originally, Arklyte was gonna do Resistance 3, but it kind of got backed up on games.
I
and
have the PS3.
He took a week off, and then Gears came out, and we'll get
I
into
didn't
Gears
take
later.
a week off. I just played LOL instead,
Yeah.
and then I hurt my hand, and it made things difficult.
Yeah.
Among
So
masturbating, I had to play some games too.
yeah. So just talk about a little bit about Resistance 3. The game's beautiful, actually.
It is actually.
I thought it was a
really
very
nice
nice looking game, and there's no frame rate issues at all with the amount of guys that was on the screen.
When you were
Like,
yeah,
when
when you were on that boat,
When I was on the boat going to like this like city that's been like flooded.
and like these zombies, I can't remember what they're called, but for lack of better term, zombies.
We'll call them the Resistance zombies. The ones that don't have weapons, you just kind of run at you, and like they got like the long legs where they jump really high.
Or,
Those
like,
are in there too.
They're like guys with jetpacks, but they jump really high.
Yeah.
Well,
Why do
great.
you need the jump
So why do they have
packs then?
jetpacks?
Because they jump really high and then they jetpack.
Yeah, and they just like kind of throw themselves over, but they were really cool.
Mm.
Your hair was
Like even with the amount of guys that was on the screen, like I'm sure there's like at least 50 guys on the screen at one point going through a city, so you're not like you're stopped. Like things are all moving, and they're moving with you, and there's no frame rate issues. Everything's
That's
smooth.
what PS3s are good for that. I don't.
Well,
find
PS3 has a lot of power.
I don't find I ever get frame rate issues when I'm playing games compared to like Xbox ones. So.
Yeah. So like yeah, just like no frame rate issues really surprised me a lot. I was used because I always play Xbox, and sometimes with lots of guys you get frame rate issues, but
Especially with yours. I find you get more frame rate issues than I do.
probably.
So.
Yeah. So, but like the controls are very solid too when I was playing. Like I felt the immediate response to me moving. I found the aiming, like with the stock aiming, was a little loose. Like,
It was,
you
yeah.
move around a lot. But they do have stuff like for the guns that compensate for it. Like each gun will have two kind of shots. Get your normal shooting shot, and then your second one's like a secondary, kind of help you out. Like with the assault rifle, it's got like this beam, and it kind of like latches onto the guy. So wherever you shoot, the bullets just follow the beam and hit him. And like your pistol, cause like shoots him and then it like blows up, kind of like the pistol in Bulletstorm. There's like extra thing.
Yeah.
Just stuff like that, so it kind of makes up for it in a way. Cause guys are always constantly moving. They're not just standing still shooting you. They're always like moving around, especially like the long legs. They're jumping up. So you have to use your secondary assault rifle thing to like lock onto them, so when they jump you can still follow them with your gun. So I found that really good.
I don't like games where it gives you like that, where you have all your weapons at the same time.
Yeah.
I find it's nicer having like only two and then
you
you
switch out.
Yeah, because it makes it makes it harder.
Yeah.
Which adds that nice thing, like it's like, oh, that'll be no trouble. I have my sniper rifle hidden in my pocket somewhere.
Well, it makes you feel that you have to actually choose.
You actually have to think.
Yeah. Like, the thing I like about those resistance, like you can only like quick switch between two weapons.
Yeah.
But if you want to have a different weapon, your weapon will pop up, and you can like select it there. But it's good because the game pauses itself, so you can have time to think about what gun do I want to use here. Not I'm panicking, so press this quickly, and then maybe it's the right gun, maybe it's not. But then how they bring guns in is also good. Like it suits that, like where you are. Like when they brought the shotgun in, I was on the boat. And then lots of guys like jump on the boat, and you're just trying to hold the boat so it doesn't get wrecked, and you're trying to get through the city. You got the shotgun to do like really close range damage. Perfect way to bring that gun in. Same with the sniper and all the
There's
other
like
guns.
the atomizer. That one that like shoots like the lightning. You're in a dark building, and there's more of the zombies. It gives you the thing because they're rushing at you from everywhere,
Yeah.
so you just like push it, like
It's-
spin around.
It seemed like a giant kind of like taser add-on to, and like its secondary feature's cool because it has like it sets out a mine with the electricity that shoots up. Then with enemies that come in, it saps them,
That's
so
cool.
they can't run at you, and then it kind of like spins them around. So it was, I don't know, just I'm absolutely loving this game. We haven't beat it yet.
Oh,
Tonight,
we'll do that.
We'll do that tonight.
after Space Marine.
No,
we're not
that-
doing Space Marine.
Why not?
I don't. Well, you can do it. I have to do something first, anyways. So if you want to do it then.
Are we doing Space Marine?
Oh, well.
Well, no,
he was
because
gonna
I'm
play it.
gonna be a Space
Oh.
Marine.
He's
I
gonna
like
play
how
it.
this has turned into the people are listening to the podcast.
Shut up, Will. You've talked enough this podcast.
No more words for you!
Just that.
You're gonna
Get out!
You're gonna turn to it like having to have like a duct tape with you. So once I'm done, you're just like, okay, now we can do the rest.
Just like knock him out. Just done. Okay. Okay, Llama's done.
Llama said stuff. Now get the hell out of our room. Now it's just us.
You know what, we could just put him on like Skype and then just end the call.
And then you'll keep on hearing the ringing as I try and get back into it. God damn it, he won't leave us alone. Unfriending him.
Anyways, back to Res 3.
the gameplay is very fast. Like, there's no points to where it's just like I'm not doing anything.
Okay.
Every little break has meaning. It's like backstory. Like, people, like, you come to this place and people are defending this helicopter, but you don't really know you're trying to help them so they don't die. So you're like killing all these like resistance zombie things. And then Chimera. Okay, sorry, yeah, Chimera. I haven't played it in the resistances.
Yeah.
And then what you do is you go into this pub with other people and you're trying to defend the pub from the Chimera. And the only point of the break is you kind of get a little bit of backstory of what they are, and then why we have to defend the pub. But that's maybe like 45 seconds to a minute,
Well,
and then waves come out.
There was that time, there was that mini-boss that you ended up killing in a certain time limit that got you a trophy.
Yeah.
But what had happened the first time he played was he was so far ahead of his partners
Yeah,
in the
like
game
I
that
got
he...
followed into like the catacombs into like this big open room.
And he
and
ran
Sim was
ahead.
staying
He
with
ran
him.
ahead of the enemy spawns. So he's farther
What?
in. Yeah, he
Yeah.
ran
Spawn behind me?
because they spawn when the allies get
Yeah.
there. So he's up in the balcony, and they have spawned in the room that's below him already.
Oh, nice.
When his allies walk in, so he's up on the balcony and he's just fucking cornered because there's tons of them up there.
Well, it's because it's
All of
funny
a
because
sudden.
I came up. I'm like, this is an empty room with nothing in
Like
here.
we're looking at each other. It's like there's definitely going to be a fight in here.
Because there's health potions laid everywhere
There's
and
health
ammo, and I'm
potions,
just
there's
standing.
ammo
I'm like,
everywhere.
maybe I broke the game. And then sure enough, I come out the door and this big thing's in the fucking
Looks
middle,
at
right
him.
when you walk. And I was like, oh. So I try to hide behind this wall because it was like charging and just breaks through the wall and crushes me. I'm like, oh.
That's funny.
Like this time I'll stay with him.
Yeah.
And then like I killed him in like 2 minutes to get that trophy the next time. And it was
Somebody
like,
allowed you to do that.
I was like, we're just like, what the hell?
It's like I've never seen this happen before.
I just hate waiting for people when they walk and I can run. I'm just like, fuck it, I'll just run. And I got multiple points. You walk, and you can just sprint through however far you want. It was just so fun. I don't know. But no, like all that, and that there's enough variation in the enemies that you're not just it's not like a stale in battle all the time. Like you got like your big guys, you got your long legs, and you guys with guns. Guys come at you. I don't think there's any not exploding guys.
Well, there probably will be.
It's probably gonna be.
There's always exploding guys.
Yeah.
There's always zombies. Maybe
Yeah.
there's an underwater level.
Maybe.
Every game needs its underwater.
I found that it had good enough backstory to kind of let me know like what's going on.
Yeah, like they do. I think they do a video at the start.
Yeah, they
Flashbacks
do.
or-
They
Like
do
a little bit
video.
of a video that explains the overall story. Because
Yeah.
if you're playing as a new guy, well, Resistance 2's been out long enough that I can say the ending.
What if Byron wants to play it?
I don't have a PS3.
Yeah.
I know, but you played
And it
that.
explains
No,
it explains
it
the ending
kind
at
of
the start
explains
of
it,
yeah.
Resistance 3 anyways.
Spoilers.
It's not really spoilers.
It's
Spoilers.
how long ago was it out?
That was a
Resistance
long
2?
time ago.
Yeah.
At
Yeah.
least 3 years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So-
Spoilers.
Not spoilers! It's past the required, year.
Yeah, that's true. Well,
I
even,
know,
we'll
kidding.
just put spoilers on there.
Spoiler!
For ending Resistance
For-
2. You catch back
Even
like
though
a
it
minute,
explains
we'll
it
be
in
fine.
Resistance 3, right off the bat. The main character you play as dies from the first two. The guy you play as in Resistance 3 is the guy who shot him in the head at the end because he starts turning into a chimera.
Oh.
Because it's like a disease.
Yeah.
This is a main plot point that they... I shouldn't say main plot point because that... But it's
It's the backstory.
it's
how
the backstory. It's
how there's so
explained.
many of them or
It
whatever.
is explained very early. It's like a disease. They're aliens, and they
Yeah.
by being around them, you can become them or something. You grow another pair of eyes. You get sharp teeth. That sort of shit.
No.
Or as the main character went, he got yellow eyes.
He just his eyes started to turn yellow, and he started
Yeah,
getting
no. I know a bit about the
he started getting psychic powers. So the character you play as in Resistance 3 shoots him in the head at the end, and he's like, "Fuck!" He's broken up by this. He's like, "Damn, I had to kill him," and he was like our savior.
Yeah.
I really like
Yeah.
Resistance 2. It's a good game.
I think what I may do is I'll probably just go to Arklyte's house and just play through the first 2.
Not even say hi, just walk in, go to the basement. I'll come down. Like,
What
what
are
are
you
you doing?
Play Resistance!
Dude, that's what I considered when I didn't have a PS3 and I went playing Shard.
I forgot he had one.
I just kick in the door and walk in and be like, "Hi, I'm playing Uncharted now."
So yeah, no, I'd probably give this game actually an 8.5 with 9 out of 10.
I'd throw it.
You play multiplayer or just
No,
single
no.
player?
There's a pass.
we rented it, and you
Oh.
have to get the online pass.
Oh.
It's one of those games.
I don't know what to
boy.
say that's
That's what
negative
I
about
like.
the game.
Well, I like when games do the online pass, but they like Space Marine. The way they do it, you can go up to level 6 in online, and then you have to get the online
Yeah.
pass.
Yeah, see,
That's-
that
that's an-
would be better.
Especially if you're
Try it.
renting the
Trial,
game.
yeah.
Especially because it's renting. 'cause
Or even like
Exactly.
a 2-day trial, like Dead Space 2 did a like a 2-day trial.
yeah,
At least you can at least try it.
Yeah.
Especially if that's a key thing and you do have this renting system that's going on.
Like Resistance does
Oh,
have
no,
a huge
Resistance.
multiplayer.
Yeah, Resistance isn't known for its multiplayer though, is it?
No, it's got a pretty big. It's got a pretty big
it's
backing.
got a pretty good following, but
Yeah, but
Things
it's not
like-
like.
It's
right now
probably
COD
Killzone.
overshadows
It's-
everything.
it's-
Yeah, but
it's
usually you
probably
wouldn't
like-
buy a Resistance game for its multiplayer, or mainly for its multiplayer.
you wouldn't.
Exactly.
But
what I'm
sometimes
saying.
it's got
you're
really
gonna have a
fun
bit of
co-op
fun.
though.
Yeah.
You're gonna have a bit of fun with it. Like Uncharted 3, I think definitely we should try some of the co-op stuff.
I love
and even
it, yeah.
multiplayer. I haven't done any of that stuff
I
yet.
really like the multiplayer
and
in
well,
Uncharted.
I'm getting it for the single player, of
Yeah.
course, but it's just that it has the extra stuff and that it's gonna have the polish from Naughty Dog. I'm gonna try out that stuff.
That makes sense. Yeah. So, yeah, 8.5 out of 10 is I'm giving Resistance.
I'm sitting there right with you. So
There's not really like there's no real
Resistance
big
2
negatives.
was one of the
but-
first games. Like you come out from a tunnel, and like you look at the sky, and there's all their ships in the sky, and that was like one of the first moments in a game that I've ever just stopped and like looked at it and like, wow, that looks awesome. So I'm still waiting for a moment like that in
Yeah,
Resistance 2.
like a haha,
Like a
haha, not a
like a
haha.
oh,
That's
awesome.
Yeah. So that's
That looks
Resistance.
cool. Me gusta.
You have to go
So,
cross-eyed more.
so now we're on to Warhammer 40k Space Marine.
Woo! Space
So if
Marine.
Arklyte wants to get into that,
I played. I chose it because I used to. Oh,
Paint.
I didn't play the game because the game confused the shit out of me. It was-
It's kind of confusing.
I
man.
couldn't understand like
Wow.
action rolls and all that
At a
shit.
younger age.
Yeah, I was like what, like 8 or 10 when I started, so it was like
Yeah.
and I just painted them. So I was like, okay, I like Space Marines, they're cool. It was really gory. It kind of feels like you guys pointed out when we played it that one time. A little bit like a Gears clone at times, but they mix in melee combat too, a lot more than Gears does. Like it's like a large part of it.
You got like your
You
power
got a
sword.
sword. Stuff.
You get choice like through the game. You can pick up different ones. Like you can pick up like a power axe or a chain sword. You start off with a combat knife, but it's a piece of shit.
You get a power fist.
I haven't seen one yet.
Oh,
Power Fist is the
Rule.
best. I don't think it's in the game though.
you do get a Warhammer. though.
You can get the Thunder Hammer, and that thing rapes. But it swaps like that. The only way to heal during the fights is to do the execution kills, which
Really?
yeah,
That's the only way to heal?
that's the way to heal.
There's no
during-
random like health
There
things like that.
I
I
haven't.
thought you picked up health things after killing guys. Some guys drop health.
Not that I've really noticed. I think like
I thought
the
that was
It's just
general.
execution, I think.
executions get you health back. So like in the middle of a fight, if you're dying, you have to like hit one of the button combos to stun the guy before you
Yeah.
can execute him. And some cases it just doesn't work because there's these guys with like 2 chain swords. They go, if you hit them enough, they go like rage mode. Their eyes turn red and they just beat the shit out of you. And if you get like 4 of them around you, you're just fucked. Even on easy, that game was like I would find I was dying a lot because I tend to rush in and
Well, that's probably
Not-
your problem
not
then.
being-
not be intelligent, and I always forget about my fury meter. I don't know why.
Ah.
Because I always save them. Just like I'm gonna save this because I know
For a
something
big
big,
fight, yeah, that's
something
what I
big is
do.
gonna
And
be
then
in the
I
next
end up
room,
don't activate
and then
it.
it never happens. And I just wait, and then I'll be
Yeah.
like, "Okay, I'm gonna use it now," and I'll use it, and then 2 seconds later it'll be a big fight.
Yeah.
I was like,
I think that happened.
So far story makes sense.
How far are you in the game?
I am
You're-
almost done.
I've
Probably
heard
within the
though.
hour.
I don't know enough because I don't have enough of the lore that I understand. I know that they've changed some things, and so some fans aren't as pleased with some of the stuff. They've changed a little bit of what's actually supposed to be going on.
I didn't really ever read into it all that much,
Yeah.
like all the lore. And
It's quite a bit of lore from
there
the
is a
game, so.
retarded amount of it.
There's like how many books on it?
It's
Plus the board.
been going on
game
since like the 70s.
Well, you have all those
Yeah.
books, and then
Yeah.
every once in a while you have these like little things where they have tournaments,
Episodes.
and depending who wins the tournament, they've changed the plot line of the game.
It's pretty cool.
Like I just don't know enough of the following, but like I've noticed there, like you can get collectibles and all the levels and all that sort of, or all the places, and I just don't find any of them because they're hard to see. Like, they're just these little floating skulls. And I don't find them anywhere. I can't see them. I'll search around. I still won't find them. And they give you a little backstory in like an audio log. But you either tap B to pick it up or hold B to listen to it. I've always been tapping B the whole time. I just realized you can hold it to listen to it. So I have like this whole backlog of audio logs that I've never listened to. I'm not gonna.
You
It is
should.
an achievement.
How many enemies are there? Because you have all these kind of classic groups that you want to fight as a Space Marine. I know if they have the Orcs, and there's definitely going to be the Chaos Space Marines.
That's all there is so
Really?
far. Just the they don't even throw like the Tyrannid guys in there.
Those guys are cool, and there's
love
the
them.
Necro,
There's like
whatever. I forget.
I'm sure the other put those guys into like DLC.
Well, my
That's
favorite
what
was
they're
like the
thinking.
Tau guys. They're like the little
Oh, yeah.
blue aliens with like the cool armor and shit. Or the Eldar. They were also
Elves.
space elves.
Yeah.
There's always elves. There's always elves. There's always zombies. Rule 1.
Well, it's just like a space update version of Warhammer.
Yeah, really.
It's the same universe in some ways.
It
You,
is.
you hear like a ton of stuff where they might be going on at the exact same time.
Yeah, I'm sure they put those guys into like DLC.
Yeah,
Like,
that would be nice. Like,
or even like even open for like a sequel to have them come
Well,
in.
Well, this is the first of it.
yeah,
Yeah.
that's true. And it, like, it
So-
is a fun game, so I think they would be crazy not to make a sequel. Like, multiplayer-wise, since, like, a big part of like, the whole Warhammer thing is customizing your own army, like,
Yeah.
everyone has, like, there's so many different chapters of Space Marines. Like, multiplayer-wise, you can pick whatever one you want. You can make your own. And you just pick, like, your color scheme, and depending on what you do online, how you play, you unlock new pieces of armor.
Oh, that's awesome.
So all that sort of stuff. Like, I have, like, basic armor, because like, a lot of the stuff I have is, it's called the battle damaged armor. You get it from dying a lot, so, or getting shit raped, so my armor is, like, the battle damaged armor, because I think it looks awesome. One thing about campaign that I didn't really like the Space Marine helmet is just, like, it's so iconic. And there's 3 guys in your squad, there's you and 2 others. No one wears the helmet.
What?
One of them wears it at the start, but it, like, falls off. And, like, your guy hands it back to him, he's like, here you go, here's your helmet.
doesn't
And
put it back
he
on.
doesn't put it back on.
What?
Why would you run around without a helmet?
Are they trying to do the helmet so you can see like emotion and stuff?
So you
from
can
the
see
guy?
emotion, but it never goes far enough into their face that it shows emotion in, like, cutscenes.
They should just keep
And
it on.
they're
man.
Space Marines. They're not supposed to have emotion. So, helmet. Helmet
That's
looks
for
more
soldiers,
badass.
Not Space
Yeah.
Marines.
Plus, you'd think they just use it for protection like it's meant to.
yeah.
He's got that little metal stud in his head. That's good enough.
That's still, I don't know.
Like, the weapons feel nice. Like, I didn't know what until it explained in, like, the tooltips, I didn't know what one of the grenade launchers was, like, for. Like, in the demo I had it, and I was like,
Yeah.
I kept shooting it, and it wouldn't blow up. And I didn't know how to blow it up until you press the right bumper, and then it blows up. But, they have, like, achievement-wise, they have stuff where it's like, complete this chapter using only these weapons. I did that, and it didn't work. And I, for sure, like, I'm anal when it comes to it about doing those. Like, I will only use those weapons. And in some, like, it was like, use just the chain sword and the sniper rifle. I never even touched the sniper rifle, I just used the chain sword.
Supposed to use both.
Yeah, maybe you have to use both.
You
Yeah.
probably had to get a kill with both.
Mr. Anal.
Well, just repeat the game. I'm sure you're gonna want to do it.
Maybe eventually. Fuck.
I
didn't even
and the sniper.
Think of
rifle.
that!
You just got to register the kill, so it's gonna go, we're looking for a sniper, we're looking for a chainsword.
Not just a chainsaw.
Maybe you can't use grenades either.
Probably
No,
not.
no, they typically tell you in an achievement thing if
I just wouldn't use them.
if you can't use grenades or not.
I
Just
wouldn't
because
use
that's
them.
considered like a
Safe.
secondary item.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
I
they
just
gotta
do not use them.
explain.
Oh yeah, like, and well, story-wise, the game's pretty long, actually. Like, I'd say it's good. It's a solid 8 hours. Like, a lot of it is multiplayer, too, because it is fun
Yeah.
multiplayer. It's just hard. Because I got in there first day, and everyone was, like, way amazing. Like, usually, if I'm not good at the start, I'm not going to get much better. It's just how it is.
try it now. More people have probably got the game.
And
Yeah.
and the fact that it's such a concentrated
Group.
of people that would play it or even look at it, for that sake.
Yeah. Like, I'm kind of curious how well the game sold.
I probably did average, because there is a large following.
Yeah.
In, the whole thing.
Or else when they made the game.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it is fun. Executions wise, they could have been more varied. It's and I found there was a lot of graphic errors when you would do them, clipping, and the fact that you would execute a guy, but he would be 5 feet away from you, and you would be curb stomping his face.
Except you're curb stomping air.
You're and your guy's floating in the air a little bit too at the time, so he's
Yeah.
curb stomping air, and then the guy's face explodes 5 feet away. So
The
maybe-
force foot.
Maybe he just kicked the ground hard enough that it sent a shockwave into his face, but
Doubtful.
enemies are somewhat varied. Mostly they're just generic orc
orcs.
with axe, and that's it. And they'll just run at you and scream. And the orcs do not sound like I thought they would. They don't sound like monsters. They sound like guys. So I thought one of my partners the whole time was like, "Space Marines, kill them!" Or "Kill the Space Marines." And I was like, "Why is he
But are
yelling
they
that?"
doing that exaggerated talk that they're supposed to go like? There's all these words that they have for units for the orcs.
Yeah, bumpas.
Yeah.
Yeah, they do that. It's kill the gunshipses. Or
It's gotta be a bit different.
yeah, it's really.
They should sound a bit funny with the stuff. Because the orcs were always supposed to be kind of hilarious, kind of.
Yeah, they don't sound funny. They sound they sound like generic people. So just it seems like they missed a filter in the voice or something to make it sound
Yeah.
funnier. They just sound too similar.
Made him too human-like.
Yeah, they made their voice a little bit too human.
Dun, dun,
Never
dun.
played that game.
I hate
It was alright. It was different at the time, so
I might try.
gave it a try.
I'll probably try
They're
it.
doing the X-Men game that's coming out, right?
Yeah.
Let's not get off
The
track.
X-Men Destiny.
Yeah, so
How
overall,
far are they fallen?
overall not bad. Music was good. Violence is there. I like
Yeah,
Well, it
that.
seems very
it seems very
arcadey.
good.
It
It
doesn't
is. It is
seem-
rather arcadey.
Because Gears isn't arcadey.
Gears
Gears is
is-
you actually have to take cover, and
You have to
otherwise you're gonna
take cover.
die.
You just-
Space Marine seems like you can just go in there with his sword and
Yeah.
FSU.
Looking at the multiplayer, it looks very kind of old school. What games used to be.
Like Unreal Tournament.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
that's the sense they got from seeing multiplayer.
It
It's
is-
unreal.
Yeah, because you get your classes. You get your standard classes, and then you can make your own classes later, and you get all the different perks. You can choose 2. Usually, I haven't unlocked the second slot yet, but you get choices when you dash with your jetpack, it does damage, or you can teleport in on another partner.
Yeah.
So you get choices of just your standard guy with the gun, assault rifle,
Mm.
your assault guy with a pistol and a sword, and then the jetpack, and then the guy with a heavy gun. But the thing I don't like about it is it's got a similar problem that COD Online has, because they don't have weapon pickups sitting around the map. You will often get thrown in a match, say I'm level 4 or 5 or 6 or something like that, and I'm getting thrown in levels with in games with max level guys, and they have all the weapons unlocked, so and they know what they're doing, whereas I'm just kind of pissing around trying to have fun,
Oh, fair enough.
and they'll jump in, axe me in the face, and I'll die in one hit, and it's just okay, that's rather dumb.
Mm.
So I'll just run around and troll people, and I'll just steal their points, and I won't capture them, and I'll just run away, just to be a dick. But overall, solid game. I'd like a sequel. I would buy it. I kind of
8.
bought it on a
8
whim.
out of
anyway.
10.
I'd say
7.
7.93.
So 8 to...
So 8.
About 8.
So
Yeah,
8.
I'd give her an 8. It's good music, good game. I'd say it stays true to the story. I don't know much of the story in that sense. So.
Yeah.
But to what I know, it stayed with it.
Yeah,
It didn't
fair
change anything terribly. I don't know if the characters that you play as are actually in
From what I heard, they're not. It's just random characters.
yeah, his name's Titus. I kept saying tight ass because it was funny.
Tight ass.
Titus from Final Fantasy X.
Oh god.
But yeah, good game. I like it.
Good.
I enjoy it.
It's good.
We'll move on to big one.
Lucius! No, just kidding.
To what?
Lucius. No, I don't know. Should I
even
should
play
put
next?
Dead Island next, or should I put Crimson Alliance in there first and
Did
then
you
go
play
Dead
Crimson?
Island?
Oh, we
Because
all three
Crimson
of us
Alliance
played
would be
Crimson.
like 5
I would-
minutes.
It's not
To be
gonna-
honest, I think I could devote a whole episode to Dead Island. That's just my opinion on how
I
Dead Island
I
is.
think we'll leave Dead Island until we play it a bit more.
What?
We haven't played much of
We'll
it.
play like half of it. We'll play it and have to get a good feel for it,
Well, we
bro.
played enough that I could feel getting a whole episode out of it.
Yeah, but we
Dead
haven't
Island special.
played enough for the
I still have to
story.
consider from renting it. This is off
do
you
that.
guys.
We'll do it.
Well, we could wait until Will rents it. 'cause
Yeah,
Will
we'll
wants
wait
to
until
rent
Will
it.
rents it.
But yeah, and then we'll do a Dead Island special.
Yeah.
Just a whole 4-hour
Put
And you
podcast.
gameplay
can
and shit. And all that.
Email us saying you want to play with us at
We'll definitely play with everyone.
powerfruitcast@gmail.com.
And we
Especially
could
if you're
might
Pwner.
even have a video of what we were playing.
Yeah,
together.
I'll definitely record a video if I can get my laptop working.
And this is also going to depend on how I can set up my 360 as well, because I will be in renovations really soon, and so I won't be able to game as much.
You know what? Maybe you shouldn't put that giant penis sculpture in your bedroom. It's kind of ruining the whole renovation thing. Like,
Shut up. Shut up. You have no opinion on this.
okay. But we are putting the mirrors above the bed,
Okay.
right?
So we're doing a little
Crimson
dabble on
Alliance?
Crimson Alliance.
It was terrible.
It was bad.
It
Okay,
was fucking terrible.
I didn't
I
like
wouldn't
it.
say it's terrible.
It was terrible.
Is
It was
supposed to be
terrible
like
in the
Baldur's
sense-
Gate?
Byron and I resorted to just teleporting around because
Yeah,
we were
but-
bored.
That was
I
fun.
don't know.
That was fun.
Is this
I'll
like
give it
the
that.
Byron
Uh,
doesn't play those types of games that
hack and
often.
slash?
I play.
Yeah,
I love
yeah, the
those
one-
types
oh, God.
of
I
games.
know, you love those types of games.
The one
so I
with,
could
like,
see
you
you
got-
liking it more
You
than
got
Byron.
bored playing it.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah, I
Oh,
didn't even
God.
finish the
Like-
trial.
The way Danson put it, it was perfect. He was like, we were talking about Gauntlet at the same time, and he's
Oh
like,
yeah.
Gauntlet is far better. Like, this game makes my eyes bleed for some reason.
Well,
This
they
game-
tried turning it into Diablo.
It looks
It does not
it
turn
looks
into Diablo.
cartoony
No,
in
it-
the wrong way.
But
Like,
it doesn't. No, it looks like they tried going Diablo and then tried using the graphics of Torchlight.
like they
They
tried
tried
to,
the style of
they
Torchlight.
tried to
and
make Torchlight and Diablo's love child,
yes.
and it was a hideous thing that should have been put like aborted.
Well, it's incense. So.
Man, the art style was cool though. I'll give it
Incest.
that.
Yeah.
Incense
Man,
is the stuff
I
you
didn't
smell
mind the
like.
art style. It's just like the cutscenes. The cutscenes
I'm
were
having
cool.
a problem like ever since braces came off with some words.
Man,
What'd you
I found the cutscenes actually kind of nice though. And they said at least the cutscenes had humor in it.
I didn't notice any humor.
All I know the humor was there was that the game was shit.
Do you want it to be funny or?
No,
Yeah.
it's a dungeon crawler. You want it to be difficult or dark.
I mean, what? How much was it? Was it 1,200 humor points?
It's 800 points for one plays 1 to 3 characters or
I
12.
do.
Yeah,
I
so for, like,
really
the whole
do
thing.
like that option that they threw. That was a
What was
very
it?
They
intelligent.
probably realized how awful
They
it
were
was
just
gonna
like-
be.
It's
They-
not worth.
If you know you're only going to play as the warrior,
Oh,
the
yeah.
mage, or the rogue, you just buy them.
Yeah.
It's not worth $10.
It's not a
No,
I
I,
didn't-
would say 5.
If I got it for,
Yeah.
half
if
price.
somebody got it for me for shits and giggles, I would play. Like I would get a bunch of people and we'd play
Yeah.
for a
Hey, email us and you could get this shit game.
Like, I'm sure you can play the trial and you'll like it or not based on that trial. Those secret
Yeah, but-
areas, it's so easy to find.
Yeah, what?
If parents go right, oh no, it's path to left. Secret area. Oh.
Yeah, what this game would attract people like Luke and I who are just suckers for dungeon crawlers, and we hate
Yeah,
this game.
but it's terrible.
It's terrible. So I mean,
You just said don't call it terrible, then all of a sudden they're like, call it terrible.
Well,
yeah.
it's-
Well, now that I think about it,
Like the only thing that I liked about it was like the cutscene art style and like the little bit of humor in it.
I didn't notice.
You've
any
noticed
humor.
that they've been
Yeah.
doing a lot of like really bad like hack and slash ones. Like there's the Dungeons and Dragons one that just came out
That one
recently.
wasn't even that bad. I
Well-
liked that one.
All the dwarves look the same and they look freaky.
Dwarves look the same. They're short and they have beards.
They look like zombies and they're not moving their lives.
Byron is short and has a beard. He looks like the dwarves.
Yay!
Dwarves look the same. This is rule.
it's true.
What kind of
Varying
point is that? All the
beards.
dwarves look the same. All
They
the
have
dwarves-
varying beard colors. That's all that's needed.
Okay, let's just get into the
You've got your
scores.
ginger dwarves, your black-haired dwarves, and your fucking blonde dwarves, and the gray dwarves, and they look the same.
Okay, so
Okay.
what would we give this out of 10?
It's
2.
0.2.
I give it a 3.
Can I give them minus
Okay,
2?
as a person who plays
And-
Dungeon Crawlers like religiously, I'd say a 2 out of 10. For someone who like doesn't play them, they could possibly look at this game and be like, "This is fine." Maybe like 4 or 5 out of 10.
I'm
Give it a
with him
3
right
'cause
there.
it's humor.
As someone who loves Dungeon Crawlers,
Hearing
I'll
about-
give it like a 2. As a potential game to play with like 3 friends, I would say it's like
Yeah.
a, it's like
2.5.
Or,
I-
and if someone got it for you for free, I'd bump it up to like 5.
yeah, I would say like it's a 4.5 for a group. Like 4 people playing it would find a way to make it more fun, just with the hilarity that would come out.
Teleport.
If there was liquor involved, I would throw her up to a 6.
Could you do a drinking game with this?
You
No.
can do a drinking game with anything.
Yeah.
Every
Every
time
time
I
you
teleport as the wizard, you take a shot. Hey, button, hey, button. And then we all died.
Okay, so we're not doing Dead Island?
No.
Dead Island special.
Dead Island should be
apparently.
a special.
Yeah.
'Cause-
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay, so we'll move on to NHL 12. I think I was the only one who ever touched that game. I'll just do a
Sports
quick-
game? What?
Oh, why didn't you drive for San Francisco?
Yeah.
It's all a
Imagine.
dream.
The game's a piece of shit. Fucking final boss.
Story mode. Confusing.
Okay, so should we give backstory to Driver San Francisco?
Well, let's say what it is, like
Okay,
what
so
kind of game it is.
Driver San Francisco is definitely a racing game. You're the.
I wouldn't say it's a racing game.
Oh, it's not a racing
I would
game.
say it's
racing
more of a
game.
just
You're in the car.
it's a driving
You don't-
game.
It's not like a...
It's just a driving because you're not exactly racing people. You're more getting because I mean there are races, yeah, but from what I
Racing.
saw, there's more chasing.
There's a
and,
lot of story to it.
No, it's
yeah
not.
Well, there is more story to it than fucking
Oh,
than,
it's
a, than a racing game.
I don't
yeah.
get why you put a story in one of these games, but I'll get to that later.
I like
Pretty
how they
much,
explain the story.
okay. Pretty much the premise is your main guy is chasing Jericho, like this big head, like crime boss, and stuff happens, and it gets in an accident, and it gets in a coma. And so pretty much through the whole game, you're solving all Jericho's crimes in your head while you're in this coma. But in real life, they're not solving them. And so pretty much you're solving all these things in a dream. It's really weird. So, I don't know why you put story in one of these kind of games. It doesn't really need it. It was fun.
Well, I think they had to make it a dream to implement their new game mechanic,
Yeah.
which was you could switch into different cars at any point.
And you can drive. You can teleport in the cars. You take over that person's mind. You can drive for them, but they still look the same on the outside.
So you're just like possessing.
Yeah,
Pretty much.
And what happens to your body as this is happening?
I'm still in a coma,
The AI takes over and drives your car.
Well, yeah,
Yeah.
but I mean, like,
which is terrible.
continuity-wise, when you jump into...
Yeah,
Say I were right now to jump into Will's body.
yeah.
What would happen to my body?
You're still there.
Would I
sit
would just,
there.
like... Would it be like in
It's-
Click when his mind just does random things?
Yeah.
Okay.
Pretty much like that. Yeah.
Or would Will become me?
No.
I
don't
don't
know.
think he'd enjoy that.
No.
I wouldn't.
Who wants to be me?
Exactly.
No, I found this game a lot of fun though. How many acts were there? I think there was 8 acts.
You
I
beat
think
it
there
in less
was.
than, like... You didn't even sit down with it all that much.
No.
You rented it.
It's probably a 7-hour.
I think you were drunk near the end.
I was okay. I'll get into that later. It's not really a spoiler.
No.
Okay, it's like a 6 to 7 hour
Tyler
game.
was drunk.
It's a 6 to 7 hour
I
game.
heard 67 hours. Holy shit.
No, it's like a.
How did you do this in
Okay,
a week?
well, if you're just doing the main stories like I was doing, you do main stories and the main missions, is 6 to 7 hours, not that long. But there's lots of dares you can do and stunts, and what they
Just
are
this man.
these dares let's say they dare you to drive at a certain amount of speed for let's say 30 seconds, or without hitting anything for 30 seconds. And when you do that, you get these like driver points. These driver points you buy a garage, and those garage you can buy cars that you can drive around and do your dares and stunts with. You can unlock your ability bar, so like you got like a boost you can use, so you can give that more money to get more boost. You got a token bonus, so you can you get 1.5 times the amount of money you get, all that jazz. So it's really cool, but you don't have to do it if you want to just beat the game. So I didn't do it, obviously, because I was just reviewing the game and I had a short amount of time to do it. But yeah, so for every act, what it is, there's 4 main missions and 2 story missions in each act. So then for the main missions, they go between stunts, cop chases where you're the cop, escaping from the cops, you get your races, and that's pretty much it, really. Just juggle between those 4, and then your 2 story missions are just with your main guy doing a story mission, obviously. And it's the same for all 8 acts. Go to some of my points. The cars, I don't know, you have to brake a lot to be able to turn them. Like if you're going at full speed and if you're still on the gas, your car barely turns.
They handle like shit.
Yeah, they don't handle the greatest. Pretty much. But once you get like your e-brake down, like what's toward the end of the game, it's freaking fun as hell. Like drifting through a whole corner through buses and shit and just coming through. Oh man, it's so fun. So fun. The cutscenes were actually quite good for
They were really nice looking.
They did look nice.
The cars were very...
They were all like licensed cars. It's like your Camaros, Challengers, you got like your Audis, Beamers, all that stuff. I mean, maybe they didn't have Beamers. I don't know.
But like the models looked nice. Like they didn't look where you had to like look at it and be like, is that what that car really looks like?
Yeah. One big complaint is that cops are OP. Cops are very overpowered.
Minions OP.
Minions OP.
Cause normally through any like cop racing game, you have to like go down side roads and like kind of outthink the cops. But in this game, no matter how many side roads you go down, no matter how many dips and turns you do, the cops are